Trapped by the belief that I'm not good enough, bound by the limitations and the lies that consumed my world, this was me. It wasn't until I took the biggest leap in my life to know and trust the power within. And it was at that moment I made a choice. My past will not define me anymore. Hello, I am Teri, and I know I am not alone in this. Over the years, I have found that the number one mistake that we make is that we get in the way of our own success story. Yes, I said it. On this show, together we'll tackle limiting beliefs, self sabotage, getting stuck, fear, doubt, overwhelm, and the imposter syndrome. Join us on this journey designed to transport you beyond your limitations to a world where anything is possible. This is Talking with Teri. Hello, and welcome back to Talking with Teri, where we have powerful conversations to transform your life and your business. And I'm delighted to have with you our guest today. She is the brand clarity expert, international speaker, and author. Suzanne Tulien notices a variety of creative ways people are branding themselves both consciously and unconsciously. Suzanne's inside out brand building strategy creates the clarity and actions necessary for her clients to drive consistency, distinction, and advocacy long term. Welcome to the show, Suzanne.
Hi, Teri. So glad to be here.
Yeah, it's good to see you here.
Love what you're doing these days.
So, yeah, and I realized that we have some bold, colors today. I got my pink and you got your blue on today. So I love it. Speaking of branding. All right. So for folks that do not know you, give us a little backstory. How did you come to be where you're at today?
Well, I've got about 30 plus years in the industry of communication, marketing, graphic design, all of those PR, even all of those areas where you get the message out there, right? You're communicating information out to the public. So that's kind of where I grew up in my career. And I ended up working in corporate America for years, and then decided I was going to go on my own. I started up my own design boutique, owned that for about 3 years, and really had a major, what I call BFO. And that's a blinding flash of the obvious. I had my I had my clients, I was specializing in corporate identity design. This is these pretty logos and then collateral pieces that kind of worked with that. And so everything was consistently looking the same. And what I realized was that all I was really doing for the client was putting lipstick on the pig, so to speak. I was putting a new fresh coat of paint. And when I realized that they were a little hesitant to take on this new look and feel because it upped the bar for them.
Yeah.
Right? And I sensed, and we had these conversations that they weren't quite ready to step it up or look that good, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's when I was realizing I am doing you a disservice here, because what's really missing is that internal understanding of your value position, and then delivering and knowing that you can deliver on that. So that's when I really pivoted out of primarily graphic design work, into brand consulting.
Yeah.
So building out the awareness of those elements that make up your value position, so you can be more confident and really step into that.
I love this. And that's and I apologize because I was running around this morning with your book in my hand, and I went to go make a cup of tea. And I'm pretty certain that the book that you sent to me, thank you so much, is down on my counter with my tea, because I've been reading it. I've been reading it. So
good.
So show that to everyone. I know it's in the background here, but her latest book is the Personal Brand Clarity. And so, but I want to talk about this. Okay, so because your business and my business almost parallel each other. You may not even know this.
I know, I agree. I've always felt that way.
We're talking about this internal clarity, what it is, and then standing out and showing yourself, right? And so often I have, and for everyone who's listening, I mean, if this is you, let's connect, because I truly believe that in our heart of hearts that we know that we are meant for something extraordinary. We are meant for something great. I mean, why else would we be given this fabulous body, right? And anyway, our body comes, whatever shape or size, whatever our shell comes
Yes.
in, like we
Mhm.
are meant to do some extraordinary things. And so that and so funny because like I talk about being seen and heard
Yeah.
in almost like a spiritual sense of like, okay, like standing up and standing into your power, right? Be the magic of you. Actually the word magic
Mm.
is to stand in your power,
Yes.
which is like brilliant, right? And
Yes.
it's like molding these two worlds. So like what you're doing worth working with the client is unpacking what is their message? What is their purpose here? What is it that they're going to be doing, right? And so I think it just mirrors it
Mhm.
so well.
And
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 I do think, oh, go ahead.
and it's not so much as what they're going to be doing when they work with me. It's and you, I'm sure, is who they're going to be being
Mhm.
before
Yeah.
they do the doing, right? That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
big people aren't they're so impacted externally that they've lost the process of being internally driven.
Yes, yes, that's beautiful. And like when we stop and instead of doing for everyone else and like coming back to center and being like, okay, what is it here that I'm doing, right?
Yes. Yes.
And getting that message out. So, we have this great partnership, right? Like we can you help with, getting that clarity and it's like, okay, let's clear the blocks that's preventing that person because wouldn't you agree
Right.
that one of the biggest challenges is people's their level not necessarily confidence, maybe it's kind of all combined, like self-worth, self-esteem, confidence,
Limiting beliefs.
their beliefs, like, and
um,
truly believing that they can step into like what they feel like they I don't want to say the word should, but that they
could.
desire
What
to
is the
be, right?
capacity?
Like, yeah, the capacity, the ability, the capacity
The
to really step into
potential.
yeah, the potential. Because I think people would be like, you know what, this is where I like to be, but there's something that's blocking me and keeping and holding me back from actually stepping
And
into
they're
that.
smart, they're wise, they have experience,
Oh,
they have a great personality, but they're
oh,
not
but
in allowing themselves or enabling their
and
real power
yeah.
to come up.
And this is me and my story, and I think this is for a lot of people, right? Like,
Yes.
I remember going, like, coming from a place of struggle and making it really hard and difficult, and
Mhm.
then I was like, "Oh," and then as soon as I kind of did the work, it makes it sound like it happened overnight,
Like, right.
25 years
'Cause
in the
there's
making.
layers, right? There's
Yeah,
peeling the
like,
onion.
plus 25 years in the making plus, my personal journey, right? Um, but when we start to unfold that and unpack that, that's
Mhm.
where, the
Mhm.
brilliance shines through, which is so powerful. So what has been your biggest challenge for yourself? Like, overcoming and stepping into this power. Like what has been your journey through that process?
I'm glad you asked that because I was just getting ready to apply for like a 5-10 minute talk in town here in Colorado Springs for for the community. They support businesses support each other through this little community event that they have every week. And I was thinking about the title of this talk, and it's really about the journey that you took. And I thought, oh, so it's if you've read the beginning part of my book, I'm going to entitle this talk, How I Was Bullied into Becoming a Brand Expert.
Yeah.
Especially on the personal brand side, because I think it all started there. I was a Catholic schoolgirl, right? And, those of your audience members who went through that, that trauma. And I was bullied, and that whole traumatic experience that you're being told something from that external environment that you begin to believe,
Yeah.
and you get small because of it, the pressure, and it's happening every day so consistently that you cannot not begin to take that on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I think that all of where I am now and how I've just blossomed into really having a desire, deep desire to uncover who I am and
Mm.
stand in that power is
Yeah.
showing up in my profession as a personal brand expert. So I like to call it a process of self-authoring,
Yeah.
really rewriting the book of me
Yeah.
and owning it.
I love that. That's beautiful. So I think not only for folks that have not experienced bullying, but I think we have become our biggest bulliers. Like to
You
say,
keep it up. Yeah.
we become our biggest bully,
And I'm
right?
really good at it because it
And oh my gosh, I was like queen. I was like the queen bully. Like I mean, like, I'm telling you, we are so powerful in beating ourselves up
yeah.
for anything and everything, and right? And yesterday I was giving this metaphor and I was talking about like this the power, our ability to attract and be magnetic in the world. And so if you look at like having a magnet, and that magnet is only as powerful, okay? And it becomes more powerful, I should say, if we focus on what we do desire. If we are constantly focusing what we don't desire, that magnet and its ability to connect weakens its ability to hold, right? So you might be 10 feet away, and if you have a really strong magnetic, internal, like I know what my purpose, I know I'm very clear
Yeah.
about that. Here's what I'm heading towards. That magnet goes right? And it sucks it up and can be 10 feet away. But if you're focusing on the negative, you're focusing on bullying yourself, you're focusing on,
Mhm.
all of that, that everything that dims your light, that magnet grows dimmer and dimmer. And you could be 2 inches away and it can't even pull. It doesn't have the ability to pull.
So what do you think about the magnet working both ways? Like gravity works,
Hmm.
whether you believe in it or not. Your
Yeah,
magnet, if you're in that negative mode, you're just reinforcing the attraction of what you're
absolutely.
fearing. Yes.
And what we focus on expands, right?
Yes.
It and so when we're focusing on the negative, we are going to receive negativity, right? Like
Mm.
and the evidence and the brain, like it all hops on track and we're all are focusing on it, right?
Right.
And so and I think sometimes folks are like, well, I have to always be positive. Like, no, like we don't have to always be positive. There's gonna be things that throw us off, and we can take a moment, find the gift, look
Mhm.
at, what did we need? What was the message in that
Mhm.
madness that we needed to
Mhm.
receive at that moment? Receive it, and then we get to make a choice, right? Then we get to make the
Yeah.
choice of how to move and our next step forward, right? So
When I meet up with prospects and I hear what's going on with them, I sense this, super high highs and super low lows, and it's just going like this up and down, right?
yes,
This is
yeah,
the huge Hawaiian waves, surfing waves, right? That is very exhausting and unsustainable long term. But
yes,
when you do the unpacking, the self-authoring, the deep dive inward, and really begin to own those elements of you that you resonate with, are authentic to you, you love, that's your brand's DNA, right? And
yeah,
then you bring it to the surface level of consciousness, then these high highs, sure, you can still have high highs, but it's more of the whole line that you're on, that's the middle,
yeah.
rises, number one. And then you have less lows and you're more steady,
Yes,
more
agreed. Yeah.
flow, more confident, and you ride that higher wave that is just more fun. It's more fulfilling. It's,
Yeah. Yeah, and
yeah,
1000%, 1000%. We speak the same
I
language. We talk
know.
about getting out unstuck out of the muck and then living extraordinary, and, like, what does that feel like and look like? And the more time we can spend in that higher vibration, in that higher place and space, the more we can create with these, the more that we can,
Yes,
attract those ideal clients, right? And
yes.
and again, going back to your statement earlier, it's not about, putting lipstick on a pig. It's really making it all cohesive,
Yes.
moving forward, mind, body, spirit.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, you have the branding that it's like, okay, now here's my message. Let's put it out.
Yeah. So I think what I do after what you do with somebody is I help them make it tangible.
Mhm.
They make it
Yeah.
come alive,
Yeah.
infuse it into their processes, infuse it into their family world, infuse it at a very conscious, strategic, and deliberate way.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
Mhm.
That's beautiful. So I always like to leave listeners with a nugget, a tool, a tip, something that they can hold on to. And they can, if they hear nothing else, that today they take this away and they implement it today, and it makes it a powerful day for them. What is something that we can leave our listeners with today?
There's so many.
I
It's
know.
so hard to pick
One,
the one thing because
one.
there's no magic um, tool, but I always think of your brand as the gestalt, right, of the experience that you have, and I think I'm just going to say identify, define, and align. So identify who you are, define it, like literally define it. Take your value attributes, your brand style attributes, and really uncover those terms, and then define how you show up in that space. And then once you have that, you can then make it tangible, right? And I can infuse, let's say one of my brand values is efficiency. I love efficiencies. That's in my DNA. I look for it. I lean into them. I want more efficiencies. I unpack complex things and I make them efficient. I mean, that's what I do. It's in my DNA. So how do I infuse that into how I deal with my clients, how I network, how I live my life, right? And then consistency on top of those, identify, define, and align. Until you do that, all you are doing is responding
Yeah.
to the environment instead of proacting, right?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
you're doing is contracting to this environmental push instead of expanding.
I love that. That's beautiful. That's my word of the year, expansion.
Is it?
Love it.
Excellent. Excellent.
So okay, folks, I hope you've gotten a nugget or two from this. And if you'd like more information, where do they find more about you?
Well, I'm on Amazon if you want to get the book. If you're a solopreneur, a coach, a speaker, a consultant, you are the brand of your business, right? You're a distributor. This is a workbook in here. It's the entire process. And then I'm on Facebook. Come visit me. Join my page. I have a YouTube channel that's called Personal Brand Clarity, and I have short videos on there called 90 Seconds for Personal Brand Clarity. And I have a brand bite session video of tips and tricks on brand. But I'm about sharing this information and getting people more conscious, strategic, and deliberate in who they are.
I love it. It's brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on tonight or today. What am I saying? Not
Okay.
tonight. It is
Thanks, Teri.
thank you so much. And we will put all that information in the show notes, and we will connect. We will connect later. Thank you.
Beautiful. Let's stay in touch.
I am so grateful that you joined me for this episode. If you've enjoyed this, then there's just one thing that I would like you to do. Click to subscribe and leave me a rating and review. As my way to thank you, let's connect for a free consultation. Just reach out to me at talkingwithteri, that's TERI.com, to book your time.